Sorry.
This is Winging It, the somewhat whimsical, certainly worrying, What the fuck is going on? This is Winging It, the somewhat whimsical, certainly worrying, decidedly wonky, seldom weighty, endlessly well-intentioned, and wildly witty show about music where one knows what's coming and the other doesn't. Now, when does this happen? Well, rather often now, between both proper to ensure you can spend anywhere from 15 to about 90 to 100 minutes with us, as often as is humanly possible. That's what I have to say about that. So, there is quite an interesting topic today. And before we get started, I want to know if you are ready for something that will challenge all of your norms.
Well, you know, my norms are challenged every time I have a really serious cold and you don't believe me.
You don't have a cold.
I have a cold
every
now.
Every fucking week you have a cold?
Every week. Yes.
Every week you have.
What's so hard to believe about that?
Hey, how's it going? I have a cold again.
I do every week and you never
There's
believe me.
no way you have a fucking cold every week. Anyway. So are you ready to have all of your norms challenged?
The law of averages says I'll have a cold one of these times.
Are you ready?
Yes.
It's not law of averages. So, okay. So the topic this time is worst songs by otherwise... I don't know why I'm laughing. Worst songs by otherwise great artists. So again, challenging. You're drinking in the microphone.
Nobody heard anything.
How much do you want to bet that they did not hear you going?
I'll scrutinize it during the playback.
All right.
During my
So,
drudgery of editing. You know.
There's no drudgery.
Yeah.
So this is where songs that we probably love, they're saying are crap, and they tell us why. They're hit songs that are crap. So this one's going to hurt. Are you ready?
They said earlier bands we love. So
yeah.
it's hit songs by bands we love. Otherwise
great artists.
Otherwise great artists apart from this crap that's a hit.
Yeah,
okay.
That's what they say. So
all right. Go. Yeah, I'm totally ready for that.
I'm going to start with one that hurts me more than anything. This is U2's Vertigo. So it says, hot off their comeback album, U2's All That You Can't Leave Behind is a mediocre, rushed 1990 to 2000 greatest hits package on the heels of a pair of new not greatest hits. U2 came back with Fire and Fury when they introduced Vertigo to the world in 2004. Wow. So he's saying that this is not a great song by an otherwise great artist. I fucking love this song.
So, yeah, he's fine. He loves you too, like you do also, but
Yes.
not this song. But you say it's great. I'm going to have to tell you that I don't know this one that I know of by the name Vertigo.
All right, I had to stop the show because there's no fucking way you haven't heard that song, and apparently you hadn't. So we stopped the show. I was outraged. I was enraged, and I stopped and played the song from 2000 that you haven't heard. It's 2024.
24 years haven't heard the song. I mean, what definition of hit are we using? I don't know. I never heard that song. However...
here's the thing.
What?
Remember you said Dino Tar Pit thing? That's
Yeah.
not U2's fault or the radio's fault. You're not listening to the radio.
I don't know how I missed. Anyway,
I don't know how
nobody
you missed
replayed this alleged hit. Anyway,
it's been played a million times.
Well, this was my first hearing, and I got to say, there's so much. You were saying somebody said that they were back with Fire and Fury and everything. There is so much energy. There is so much excitement. I had a friend who exposed me to the early U2 albums and REM as well, and that's mostly what I know of both of those bands, and I know you love both of them.
Yes, I do.
And they're both very, very good. I mean, they're excellent bands.
I'm going to make you fall in love with U2.
I gotta say that was a hell of a track. I don't understand how it's possible. I mean, you say I want to hear a rock and roll song. I don't know how it's possible for you to not be swept up in the exuberance of that song. It was fantastic. Are you kidding me?
I don't understand. He's saying it's a low watermark at U2's career.
No way.
And it doesn't make any sense to me. So I told you this one was going to hurt. It's going to hurt. It's not fun. But,
now that I know what I know, it hurts too.
It hurts, right? So I know you're not a huge fan of this band, but I'm going to have to talk about how much this hurts me. But I totally get it. Van Halen's Why Can't This Be Love? So I'm going to start this off with a confession. I love this song, is what he says. But here's another. It stinks. Confused, don't be. The reason this song gets a bad rap, properly, he says, is that it absolutely shouldn't have been the first single to introduce Van Hagar. Now, I agree with that. That's true. Literally any other song off 5150 would have been a better choice. Now, I will tell you, 5150 is one of my favorite Van Halen records, and I love Van Hagar. It's an amazing iteration. And 5150, I've listened to it way too much. But this song, Hagar's vocals on this song, all of it, because it's one of those ballads, I love it. I know people hate it, but he calls it a colossal dud. And this is Spin Magazine saying this.
Wow.
So any thoughts on Why Can't This Be Love?
I don't think we should take into consideration the timing of its release as a single or anything, or if it was ever released as a single. Taken on its own merits as a song, being fair to it, it is actually quite a good song.
Thank you.
Not head over heels. I thought you didn't say in the beginning that I'm not a big Van Halen fan. You know I am, right?
Right, but I didn't know if you loved Van
Van Hagar. No, I don't actually. Big fandom I usually consider as having albums, but not always. But I have all the Van Halen albums with David Lee Roth. I have none of the Van Hagar ones, but they're good.
It's a mess. You're a mess.
I've listened to them. They are rather good, but I'm not like
he's got an amazing voice.
Them.
Well, it doesn't make any sense because Diamond Dave or whatever he calls himself does not have 1/100th of the voice that he has.
It is an Ozzy Dio situation. It really is.
I mean,
isn't it though? I mean, the second singer is simply better. There's no question.
David Lee Roth and his slinking around the stage because he was hot and sexy and he did a good thing with his voice, but clearly hands down better singer. So it concerns me that you haven't taken the time to really dig in, enjoy, and saturate yourself with the Van Hagar, which is clearly superior in many ways.
Well, I have listened to them all,
but you said you
cover.
Didn't care for it, which doesn't make sense.
I did. I just didn't feel like, I got to have that. I got to complete my collection, and
try again.
Now I'm more of a pauper. I won't do it. But I don't know. They are good, but in that band, maybe isn't my favorite Hagar, but they have strong songs, and that's one of them. Honestly, Why Can't This Be Love is a good song. Love Walks In. I mean, you don't expect that kind of thing, maybe, but aren't they good songs, though?
They're amazing songs.
They are,
I think the songwriting was great. I think, the vocal performance is off the chain. I just think there's lots of people who aren't willing to, when a singer changes, to get on board, and you're one of those, and it hurts me. It hurts me bad.
I was on board with Dio and everybody who came after him.
But you aren't here because you didn't give it a fair enough
why am I hearing
shake.
a sound?
Oh, because I had to turn off this.
Ah.
So, yeah, I mean, I just want you to go back and listen to 5150 again, and I just want you to really give it a fair shake. Just because it's not Dave doesn't mean anything. But anyway.
No, I did within the last year, actually.
Well, that's still concerning.
Hello, baby.
Very
a little
concerning.
nod to the Big Bopper there.
So, Vertigo, just by the way, I just want to kind of circle back. U2's Vertigo, the highest place on the Billboard top 40 chart was 9.
Damn, that's high.
And then U.S. Billboard Hot 100 was 31. And then the U.S. Adult Alternative Songs, it was number 1. And U.S. Alternative Airplay was number 1.
Have you seen the Tar? It's deep,
So I just want you to know, because you're like, oh, how could they have been playing that song? So you didn't just say I was in the Tar. You actually were calling out that they didn't play the fucking song. They played the shit out of that song.
Oh.
You were just listening to your Led Zeppelin CD. That's what was happening. That's what was happening.
Don't start that boomer shit
That's
with me.
where well, hey, it was, I'm just telling you where their position was on the chart. Because you called out U2.
Yeah.
We called this an alleged hit, that kind of thing.
I wasn't sure. I mean,
well.
Like I said, the Tar is deep. Okay, turns out they're not just scraping for a hits like Joni Mitchell admitted to doing on the Rosie O'Donnell show. It was a hilarious exchange if you didn't see it.
So, all right. So, I don't know. We'll see if you will take the time and really give it a fair shake. But 5150 is amazing. So, all right. I think it's a great song. You think it's a great song. So, Spin is wrong. So, what about, are you ready for the next one? It might hurt. It might hurt. I don't know.
They haven't touched me deeply yet.
They might with Donna Summer's MacArthur Park. Bad enough the first time around when Irish actor Richard Harris recorded and had a big hit with MacArthur Park. Then mess with a disco beat, not a compliment, and you could dance to Donna Summer's cover in 1978. She was a talented singer, But this is the miscue of conceptual art, is what he says. So he thinks it's terrible. Donna Summer's MacArthur Park, which is so good.
Yes.
And so fun.
Yes.
And so danceable. I don't understand how this is a misstep. I told you some of it was going to hurt.
I mean, what in the name of sweet green icing is that about? I mean, I didn't absolutely hate Richard Harris's version anyway.
I hated it.
I mean, it wasn't great, but
Hate.
You can't not love Donna Summer's version. First of all, she had a lot of great songs. That she had a great double album, Bad Girls.
Yes.
Sensational. All of it was killer.
Absolutely. Insanely good.
Oh,
I can't.
Great album by any measure. And MacArthur Park, I take my hat off to them. They took a song that was okay at its core, had something going for it, and they showed you exactly what it had, and they made it a real romp, and yet it has emotional heft as well. It's a beautiful song, you know.
I think she did an amazing song, and it's not. So what I'm hearing from here is that from this particular article that I'm reading is that these are perceived as low points and poor choices, poor songs by otherwise great artists.
They have not been any so far.
No, the only song that I can think of at this moment is I Just Called to Say I Love You, which again is one of the worst songs I've ever heard in my life by an incredible artist, Stevie Wonder, right? So that's the only one I have so far.
Begging for a high fidelity reference.
This one right here it doesn't hurt because they're not wrong.
Okay, good for them.
You might disagree, but Michael Jackson's bad.
That was a low point, and you say they're not wrong.
I say I don't like that song.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They're not wrong. So
terrible.
You think it was a low point, or
I
one
do.
of them?
Yeah, I think it was a low point. Because
well,
I'm bad. You know it. I can't.
There are so many other Michael Jackson songs that are better, but I never turn it off. I mean,
I turn it off.
No, I've never turned it off. It's got a nice, super simple bass lick, which you gotta love. You know. It's
cringy, man.
It certainly is that. It tries too hard. It does. You can say whatever you want, but
it's super cringy.
It's almost as silly as Weird Al Yankovic's see, everything has a Weird Al Yankovic tie. Parody, Fat, which
it's true. Every single time you bring it up.
Well, yeah. Low point, but considering what a stellar output Michael Jackson has, is that really saying that much? Maybe they're right, though.
I don't know. I think it's
I think maybe
it's
you're
crap.
right. Yeah, I think it's not. I wouldn't say it was crap.
I think it's crap.
But if you have to pick one, but I can't go the crap route. You know?
I think it's crap. I don't like that song. I think it was unfortunate. I never liked it. I tried to get behind it, but the whole thing is a cringe fest. The video, the whole premise, the dancing, because it's supposed to be like West Side Story-ish.
Yeah,
it's just the whole thing is just cringy, and it's one of those that's not cringy in a good way. So I agree with them on this one, but for you, still not it.
No, it's not terrible.
Okay. Paul Simon's Me and Julio Down by the Schoolyard.
Wow.
This is unlistenable dreck, and its sole virtue is that it confirms beyond all doubt that Art Garfunkel was the greater musician, better singer, and more important half of the wonderful 60s, 70s folk rock duo Simon and Garfunkel. And I want to tell you right now, 100,000% right. This song is the suckiest song ever.
Okay, if you want to not like this song, hopefully you're not agreeing that Simon was nothing without Garfunkel.
I didn't say
there.
that.
Yeah, no, but
what I'm saying is
that
Art Garfunkel was a greater musician. I think he was in many ways definitely a superior singer.
Well, of course he was.
This song is, if it's indicative of where, and it is indicative of where Paul Simon went, I'm not a fan. I'm out.
Well, I don't think Simon solo was as good because Garfunkel did bring a lot to the table, but he wasn't writing the song, so you can't really bag on the song and say Garfunkel would have made it better.
Not true. I
it would have had better harmonies.
I disagree because I'm a singer in a band and I bring a lot to those songs.
Well, maybe Garfunkel did,
way.
And we don't know. Maybe not.
Right. So I think he did.
Because it isn't as if McCartney, I almost said, holy shit. Simon, everybody's a Paul. You were talking about 15 Pauls you're going to work with later on this week. You know,
so many Pauls.
Paul, everyone's a Paul. the Paul Simon is not as if he fell apart after Garfunkel.
Well, but this is part of his canon, so to me,
Yeah,
we kinda
no, it
did.
is. It's part of his canon. I think it was There Goes Rhymin' Simon, an album I used to have, actually,
Aye.
with Kodachrome, and it's...
Terrible.
That was terrible, too?
Terrible. I don't like it. I don't like
I
this
actually
era.
like those songs.
Yeah, I'm
Me
with
and
him.
Julio Down by the Schoolyard is actually a rockin' little tune, I'm sorry to say. It's like Baby
Yeah,
Driver.
You should
It's like
be sorry.
Perhaps I'm not sorry enough, but I think, it's just like Baby Driver. It's one of those Paul Simon acoustic rockers that, I'm a sucker for.
Yeah. Sucker's a key word there.
Did I pick it? Yeah.
So it says, this is not the best of times, and the tune itself sounds a bit like someone shaking a half-empty jar of popcorn kernels. Of course it was a hit. I am so with him. I do not at all like Paul Simon. I like the Simon and Garfunkel. I miss it.
The Queen of Corona.
Please stop.
Come on.
I'm feeling very nauseated right now.
Kicks ass, bro.
It doesn't. So here's another one. Elton John, Candle in the Wind. Imagine reading a poem that you wrote to your girlfriend. She's crying because you went out of your comfort zone to do something special for her. Then it's discovered that it's really word for word the same poem you wrote for another girlfriend years ago. How do you imagine that would go over? That's this song. Elton's dearly departed friend Princess Diana dies in a car wreck and he just changes a few words to a 2 decades old song about Marilyn Monroe. Both songs suck, by the way. Pure mom music. Give me this Elton John any damn day of the week. So this is a different kind of Elton John, right? The old Elton John. So I will say, not my favorite.
Well,
definitely not one of my favorites.
Well, when you said Candle in the Wind, the first thing I thought of was Goodbye Yellow Brick Road, but you're talking about the Princess Diana version.
Either one.
Oh, okay.
He said both songs suck.
Well, they kind of do.
I
It's just
agree.
the Princess Diana one was I don't know. I liked it less. I don't like either one of them that much. Take that whole era. There's nothing like an Elton John ballad, and we've got lots of them from that point. Harmony, beautiful stuff, fantastic ballads. Candle in the Wind is one of the lesser ones to me, very much lesser.
I'm not
almost
a fan.
everything he's done is better. I don't hate it, but if I don't skip it on the album, put it that way.
Oh, I skip it. I'm a skipper.
I mean, if you're going to skip a song on Goodbye Yellow Brick Road, there is Jamaica Jerk Off. No.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever listened to that more than 1 second.
Actually, if you're in the right mood, just let the needle ride on the whole thing. It's a great album.
I won't do that. I skipped that one. And I skipped Candle in the Wind. I'm not going to lie to you. So I agree. Not a good song. He's amazing, but no on that one.
It's been too long, but I think they lay it on you right after the epic, monumental Funeral for a Friend, Love Lies Bleeding. And I think they drop it on you then, so you're kind of in the mood where it's, okay, for 5 minutes, I'll let you do
Not
this.
in the mood. Nope. It's called Moving On.
If I remember correctly, it's been too long.
Moving right on. I don't care where you put that shit. I'm moving on. And there's another entry from Paul Simon on here, and I'm not surprised. 50 Ways to Leave Your Lover.
Oh, I knew that was coming.
I wonder, is it possible that Paul Simon gets his musical inspirations from weddings? Not from the wedding band themselves, but from that alcohol-soaked time at the wedding when some idiot old relatives gets on stage and says to the drummer, "Give me those sticks, son. I know how to play." Then categorically proves that he doesn't, that the most musicality is actually capable of is striking a drum head 5 times in a row and then stopping for a fraction of a second and then hitting it 2 or 3 more times. Listen to the beginning of the song and tell me if you don't now have the same suspicion. So
wow.
Yes, and there's more. So it is here. There's whispery, faux Dylan-y, cleverish lines in the introduction of a female character with that remote Dylan-y, wispy, quasi-intriguing sentiment about not wishing to intrude. So far, so good. This could go somewhere. Then we get that pounding of litany of ways to leave your lover. It's delivered in the unpleasant crescendo particular to bad bar bands. So anyway, it goes on and on and on and on and on and on about how terrible this song is, and I do not disagree. Again, not into the Paul Simon thing.
Well, this is one of the ones that really didn't hit too hard with me. It was the lyrics are like, I don't know. It's like call me. You can call me Al. It's like there was sometimes he was just incredibly silly with his lyrics, and this is one of those cases.
Yeah,
Slip out the back, Jack. Make a new plan, Stan. It's funny that you mentioned the drums. I cannot believe you mentioned the drums because on Instagram, I'm constantly bombarded by these wonky musical pages which, about the perfect technique of, I think it was Steve Gadd or something, who did 50 Ways to Love. Oh, he's doing a this. It's so intricate. It's so beautiful. And nobody else could do it and all this stuff. It seems fairly straightforward. Military drumming is what you get from it. But apparently it's very difficult. And that person said it was just banging on a drum.
I'm sure it's difficult. That doesn't make it
No, that's what I always say.
appropriate in the song, and it doesn't make it enhance the song. It can actually detract.
No, exactly.
Yeah, so I don't know. The drums didn't stand out for me, but they stood out for him. But again, I've only listened to this song twice in my life, and
wow.
if I never heard it again, I'd be so happy. Especially the Julio song, but any Paul Simon on his own, I'm not in.
Well, they set the drums come in and they set the pace, and then you don't really notice them for a while because it just chugs along with this, lyrical onslaught, and it's the verses are good. I'm not crazy about the chorus, but no, I agree 100% about wonky musicality and difficulty and technique doesn't mean shit to me. I mean, if I like it, I like it. If I don't, I don't.
If the song is shit, it doesn't matter how good the music is. You're like, well, a song is still shit.
Well, the music of the song is actually very good.
If you like
the lyrics
the song,
are kind of, I don't
like
know.
The song.
Yeah, the music's okay. The lyrics it's not a bad song. I prefer the verses though to the chorus.
Okay. But you disagree with them. You think this is a not one of the worst songs by a great artist.
No, I think it probably is actually.
Okay,
yeah,
I think it sucks. Yeah. But I'm not. Now we all know I've outed myself as not being a Paul Simon solo fan.
Well, not so far, yeah.
0%.
Yeah.
No, I'm not in.
Yeah.
So George Harrison's "I Got My Mind Set on You." I find some solace knowing George Harrison actually didn't write this song. I, as well, feel so much better knowing that he didn't. Regardless, it's certifiable earworms at the sheer mention with a chorus that mercilessly refuses to die. The fact that "I Got My Mind Set on You" shot to #1 on Billboard in January 1988, peaking at #2 in the UK, is a great mystery, greater than Stonehenge. And I agree. It's the shit song. It's the worst.
Well, here was George Harrison, who was, I don't know where the whole Serious Beatles thing came from, but he was always a fun guy, and here he was just really cutting. I mean, he joined the Traveling Wilburys, for heaven's sakes. He was just cutting up, and are we having a problem there?
Nope.
Okay.
Fine.
He was just cutting up, and I mean, come on, the guy had a video with stuffed heads on the wall singing along. I mean, that's when you got a hit. But no, it is an incredibly simple song, but I think it's infectious, and I always liked it. And yes, Weird Al Yankovic parodied that too, as it was called, this song is just 6 words long, because, like you said, the chorus refuses to die.
That's what he said. I think it sucks from beginning to end. It doesn't stick with me.
I had fun with it. I loved it.
Low bar. You have a low bar.
Well, I mean, it's
or
just...
you have a high shit tolerance.
He had the attitude. It was just the right fun attitude.
He did not have the attitude. He looked way serious in a really stupid video. Go back and watch it. He is not like jubilant. He is like, I got my mind. So it's just.
I mean, I've heard the song a million times, and I've seen it.
I'm supposed to pretend he's flipping around. We know it's not him flipping. It's just ridiculous.
Oh, I haven't seen the video in decades, but I've heard the song many times, and I'm always in with it. I like it.
Yeah. Well, I'm not, and he isn't.
As far as a career low, but I mean, that's not
saying,
that's not
low.
Well, yeah, but it seems that the other criteria is that it's crap. Bad songs by otherwise great artists.
Right, it's a bad song.
I wouldn't qualify it as that. No.
So, of his canon, you don't think this is the lowest in his canon?
Maybe, but still good. I mean, we were talking about how great some of his songs are the other day, like "What Is Life" and "Give Me Love."
Right, but this is shit compared to that.
It is, but it's still good. That's how good George Harrison is.
No.
Yeah.
No, not true. But
one man's opinion.
Yeah, definitely not true. And I agree with the Spin Dude on this. And so, yeah, you're in the minority on this one.
Low bar. The bar's kind of low.
Jesus Christ. Yeah, I was like, that's a low bar. So what about this one? Eric Clapton, "I Shot the Sheriff." Eric Clapton has often made the difficult look effortless, but here he surpasses himself by somehow succeeding in making a great reggae song sound dull. Now, I heard this song before I heard the original. So I
did too.
Song.
I did too.
But when I heard the original, I went, oh, he kind of sucked the soul out of that. And he did. If you hear the original, it's a reggae, like it's a groove. It's a groove. And he definitely made it kind of flatline. But because I heard it first, I wasn't comparing it. But when you go back and compare it, he did ruin the shit out of that song But it's, for me, honestly, it's a 2 anyway on a scale from 1 to 10. It's not my favorite, but it's okay.
Yeah, I like what he did with it, although, like you, I heard it first. And when you get used to the melody going, but I did not shoot the deputy, and then and the original version, which is how it's supposed to go, did I shoot the deputy? You
So
know, with
awesome.
Yeah, I mean, Marley just killed that song. I mean, it's his song, and he did it like the best.
Yeah.
It was hard. It's hard to do a Marley song and do it anywhere near as well as
Then
he does
just
it.
don't
you know?
do it.
I'm seriously.
Just don't do it then.
But I understand the temptation because he wrote so many great songs.
No.
But I did like Clapton's version.
Yeah, it was always a 2 to me. I was like, I mean,
I'd been ignorantly going around for years saying that's Yvonne Elliman on backup vocals, but it was another one half the time, and
Yeah.
Yvonne Elliman half the time. I don't remember which was that, but in Clapton's version. But I like the whole arrangement. I think it's good.
But I think it's a career low for him. Of all the songs that he's done and stuff he's put out, I definitely think it's a shit one by an otherwise great artist. I don't think it was great for him vocally. I don't think it was great for him musically. I think it was
Here I am once again, not siding with, but at least approving of a version of a song which has been described as by Christina as having the soul sucked out of it. And
Yep.
I'm sitting over here hoping she doesn't remember what I said about Ain't Too Proud to Beg. Hopefully she forgot about that.
No, I remember.
The scars are still there.
It still hurts me.
The scars are still
Yeah, and every time we have these discussions about soul sucking, it reopens all those wounds, and you pour salt and lemon juice in them, and it's really painful.
There's I mean, I like the original versions, but there's something to sucking the soul out of a song that makes it great to also,
Incorrect. Absolutely incorrect.
I mean, Ain't Too
That
Proud
is-
to Beg, I mean, they're both great,
That is absolutely incorrect. But I
We apologize, Stones. What can
I
say?
appreciate you sticking in there and sticking to your guns, even though they're dead wrong. I'm totally okay with that.
That's I'm glad you admire my convictions.
I do. This one, I'll be interested to hear what you think of this. I'll be interested. Santana's Smooth featuring Rob Thomas.
Rob Thomas of, what is it, Maroon? No, it's Matchbox 20. Matchbox 20.
One of Rock's elite guitarists pairs up with the Matchbox 20 dude for a grating late 90s collaboration, a still awkward fusion of Latin rock grooves and alt rock hooks. Well, what do you think?
Well, I know very little about Matchbox 20, but it doesn't really matter who joined on the song because they're treating his damn vocals so incredibly. It could be anybody. I mean, it doesn't, I don't know. As I remember the song, and I used to have that album, but it's been years since I've heard it. I remember Rob Thomas's voice being treated to shit and back, and there's something about, I don't know. It's just, I mean, it's one thing to have a song about adoration of a woman, but they're making this person out to be, I don't know. I don't like the lyric much on it, but it's got some sweet ass guitar. It's Santana. I mean, I don't mind it doesn't feel forced to me. I always kind of like the song,
I don't want to, but I like it.
Yeah, I do. I've always liked
since,
it.
I mean, I think it's got a groove. I think that Rob Thomas is at his best on this song, where he's not overly affected. He's not overly stylized. He's just singing. When he does Matchbox 20, he's overly stylized a lot. And I like that he's just singing. I got to actually see his talent a lot. And I don't think his voice is as affected as you think it is. I don't think that there's as much stuff on it. I think he sounds amazing. I think it makes sense. I think it's fun.
I probably never heard Rob Thomas's voice normal, so I don't know how affected it sounds.
Yeah, no, it
Maybe he
sounded
sounds like a
really-
machine all the time.
He doesn't sound like a machine. He sounds, he was just singing. It sounds
No, I know,
so
yeah.
good.
If they
I
can
don't
do
know
it to Robert Plant, they can do it to him. Yeah.
Why do people bag on this song so much? I don't know. I
No,
guess
I
maybe
like it.
because they like Santana, and then you marry it with like a contemporary alt person, and they go, that doesn't mesh. But that's the beauty of sometimes clashing two
Yeah.
worlds. Is I think it actually created something that sounded a little different, but people thought it sounded forced. So I guess I can understand that, but I didn't get that. I just got that it was awesome.
I was just seeing a live band a week or two ago, and they did Evil Ways. They did Oye Como Va. And I thought, this is old Santana, and this is beautiful, but you don't really lose much of that with the new stuff, like the Supernatural album and all those collabs with in the top 40 hits and everything he had, and the 27 Grammys and shit. That was good stuff, too. I mean, we really need to respect that as much. I think that is really the essence of Santana. As much as we like the old progressive jazzy shit, it's good. It's wonderful. I like it.
I mean, Santana is brilliant. We
Yeah.
know that he's brilliant, and I think that what this did was it was absolutely brilliant because it now introduced him to a whole new audience, made him a little cooler, a little hipper, And I mean, I think it was so smart. And then these people who, worshipped and admired him got to work with him. It just made sense to me. I thought the timing was perfect.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing is a lot of people don't like collabs, and it shouldn't be overdone. But in Santana's case, it's perfectly natural because he doesn't sing. So it doesn't matter. I mean, unless you're going to do an instrumental, and he still does, I'm sure. You said about a new generation. We got to remember, Santana played at freaking Woodstock.
Yeah.
Okay, that's how long they've been around.
Yeah.
So there are a lot of people who wouldn't know otherwise. And I think that's a good thing. I think it's a legitimate, valuable addition to the Santana canon, and hey, another generation is in on it. I don't really cringe that much when I see the collabs with the Rolling Stones, even though they're supplanting the singer in some cases, like Taylor Swift doing As Tears Go By, and some of those collabs where she's cringing over here like you couldn't believe.
No.
Some of them are good. Most of them are really good. Jack Black. No, fucking Jack Black. I'm sorry, Jack White. Jack White, not Jack Black. That would be interesting. Jack White, it's good stuff. But no, I dig the song. It's not really. I don't know what I would call a low for Santana, but I haven't heard anything bad that I know of, and that wouldn't be it.
Yeah, I mean, it depends. If you think of his stuff as being, he was at his peak when he was doing XYZ, then I guess this could seem like a low. And I understand that this could be seen as a low in his career, I guess, but I think he's laughing all the way to the bank.
And I'm thinking, this reminds me of like late Queen, because late Queen doesn't sound anything like early Queen, or at least some of it doesn't. And, okay, that's not really that good, but it is. You just don't want to compare the two. And I mean, that has its place too and everything. And I think Smooth and all those other things does too. Maria, and all those things. So it's good stuff.
I thought it was good. I don't know. I mean, I don't think it's a bad song, but I guess I understand if it's at the bottom of what you consider to be his good stuff. I understand that. Although I think it's great. So there are lots of other artists, but you and I are not as familiar and not as in on the rest of them. So let's go ahead and end it there.
Speak for yourself, Square.
Okay. Charlotte and the Serge Gainsbourg, Lemon Incest.
So we're saying goodnight now.
That's what I was saying. I don't know who that is. Kanye West, Ecstasy.
Yeah. It's time we pull the plug.
Okay, all right. I just trying to help out there.
Yeah.
Just trying to make sure. So, all right. I hope you enjoyed this. Again, we agreed with him. We disagreed with him. Him being the writer at Spin. But I thought it was fun. So, what do you think? That's the question. Are you going through here yelling at us? Are you yelling at the radio right now, saying you guys are wrong? Or are you with us? Or are you Team David on some things? Or are you Team Christina on other things?
Or are you a diehard Team Spin?
That's right, exactly. Again, we had different I agreed, you disagreed. So I don't know. I think that they're wrong. What was it, 70%? You think that they're wrong? You think they're right about 5%. I think they're right about 70%. So I was kind of with them, but there were some that hurt. I didn't want to. I don't want to lie to you.
I think maybe you're the real curmudgeon around here.
I don't know about that.
Yep.
I don't know. I just think there's some shit songs on here, which is why they're on this list. And I tend to agree. There's a lot more, but you and I are not up to talking about them because we don't know a lot of them. So anyway, now that we've talked that to death.
Now that we'll have to cut the hell out of that. Whatever you hear of this is going to be severely edited.
I went on about shit for way too long a couple of times. But anyway, now that we're done talking that to death, I guess that only leaves for you to say.
Let's fly this coop.
This has been Winging It, a presentation of Birds of a Feather on What the Flock Radio.